So what am I talking about? Component replacement versus a system repair. And Amber, was really interesting. Owning a shop really makes this stuff tangible and real. And when I didn't own a shop and I was training full time, I'd have all these great ideas and these concepts would come in, and I'd be flying somewhere and I would just be brainstorming. And then I'd get to a shop and we do an on-site training and I would see kind of the fringe of it. But man, when you're in it every single day, this stuff is tangible and it's real. So the picture that you guys see there is from a real car that we worked on. And you can see there are a ton of parts here. There's a water pump. There's a fan clutch. There's heater hoses. There's a heater control valve. Hey, there's the gloves that we use to, fix the car with. There's the lower hose. There's another hose that's here. Here's the radiator. And you can see the radiator's got some debris in here, so the fins are clogged. So this is a system repair. And the challenge with auto repair is traditionally it has been a component replacement industry driven by the consumer. And what I mean by that is the customer has a problem with their car. They think they need a water pump. They call the shop for a price on a water pump. The shop documents that. They check it. Sure enough, the water pump's leaking. They sell the customer a water pump and maybe a flush, maybe a radiator cap or a thermostat. And then the customer goes down the road. And the challenge with that is it is a component replacement. Not a lot of thought's been given to the rest of the components in the system. Now, in the last 6 years running my shop, I have seen the backlash of this. I have seen customers come back upset, thinking that their car was fixed, they shouldn't have any other issues with it, and they have another problem. And that's because we didn't take care of the system. We didn't address the system. So what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is move out of a component replacement repair facility and move into a system repair. Now, this takes a little bit of time to master, and it takes a little bit of work. And so the first area I'm going to ask you to focus in on is on cooling systems. And you'll see why I focus in on cooling systems first, okay? And here is the review that we got from this customer. So this is actually a true story. And it says, hey, Jeremy, I'm Rocky, the owner of the Black Safari that you repaired last week. I just want to thank you for the excellent personal service you provided to me and my daughter, Shannon. We are very impressed with your fabulous service and incredible shop. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts to help us to make our trip with no problem. So they were moving to Michigan from California. They were driving all the way across the country and had a coolant leak. And here's what happened. Let me share with you a couple of other things. Let me see here. This is the heater control valve that broke on their van. And let me go back here so you guys can see this right here. See all the rust inside? Let me back up real quick. Okay. So that's the heater control valve right there that we changed. Now, if we were a component replacement shop, we would have stopped there. We would have changed the heater control valve, put it back together, and got her on the road. I asked them a question, and this is kind of testing the information that I'm providing to you guys. Does this really work? Is this really something you should do in your shop? And I remember I struggled with this estimate, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. The heater control valve is about $450, but if we do the system, it's about $3,800. And Amber, that's a big gap in pricing, right?
Yeah.
Now, as a consumer, if your service writer says, hey, I could do the basic repair for $450 or $4,000, which one are you going to choose?
The lower end.
Yeah,
Especially if I'm moving across country, like that's not an expense that I assumed I was going to have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I gave the customer the choice. Now, I remember on my estimate, I did not necessarily want to put the heater core in the estimate, but I did because of the age of the car. This car was over 20 years old. And I am so glad I did, because look at the heater core. Do you see the staining on it? It was lead. We couldn't see that though until we got the heater core out. And it wasn't dripping through the pan, but this one taught me something. This one taught me that my job as the advisor is to be the expert. I need to know the cars and the systems on that car better than anybody else in the shop, better than anybody else on the road. And if I don't, I shouldn't be in this business. So number one, I'm going to be the experts on the cars that I service. Number two, experience has taught me that on a system like this, especially a General Motors system, if you have this type of corrosion and this part has let go and you fix this problem, the system is weak and the system is going to have other issues that we can't see right now. And if you're traveling anywhere and you drive any distance, you know, and even if you're in Minnesota and you're driving from, you know, the outskirts of Minneapolis to downtown in winter, that's a safety concern because it gets like below freezing in Minneapolis in the winter, right? The system needs to be addressed. So am I overselling? No, I'm not. I'm giving the customer the choice. Now, if they had chosen just to fix the heater control valve and said, look, our budget doesn't allow us to do the $4,000 repair today. We just want to get the vehicle fixed and on the road. Great. I've done my job. Now, if they leave Hesperia, California, and they get outside of Barstow and another hose lets loose, I've disclosed everything. That's the customer's choice. They chose not to fix the system, but I then disclosed they should fix the system. So that's my big message today. Stop selling components and start looking at the system and let your customer make the choice if they want to fix the system or if they want to fix just the component. Okay.